The first thing we had to do when learning to play slot machines was become familiar with the terms. Terms like drop, handle, RTP, RNG, odds, and bankroll. These are all terms that we're going to explain in the next few slides. One of the terms that's pretty important in casino lingo is the drop. And the drop is the money deposited by a player in a slot machine. Now, you may not think that's important, but it really is. It's very significant when you play because it has a lot to do with the calculations of your winning. So if you put $100 in a machine or $500 in a machine, it makes a difference. The next term we had to learn was the handle. And the handle is just the amount that's bet by a player. So if you're on a dollar machine and you bet $1, the handle is $1. But if you're on a dollar machine and you bet 3 lines at $1 each, the handle is $3. Another very important term that you hear quite a bit in Vegas is return to player. This is something that casinos have to report to the Gambling Commission on, and they do it by machine and by denomination. The return to player is the percentage of the drop that's returned to a player on average. So a slot machine may return 90% or 85% or 93%. The next term is sort of a technical term. It's called RNG, and it stands for random number generator. A random number generator is a computer program that generates numbers randomly, truly randomly, so they cannot be predicted. All modern slot machines use a random number generator. The last term we'd like to discuss are the odds. The odds are the player's chances of winning, and it's measured in percentage. If you flip a coin, your chances of winning are 1 out of 2, or 50%. The odds of a machine should not be confused with the RTP of a machine, and we're going to review that in the next few slides. In the next few slides, we're going to give you a few examples of 100 pulls on a slot machine with various RTPs and odds, and you'll get to see how the odds in the RTP are quite different, but it's something you can learn and you can look for while you play. In our first example, we have 100 spins on a dollar machine. And on the right-hand side, you'd simply see 100 spaces, and they're numbered 1 through 100. Those represent the 100 pulls. We're going to show you examples of machines, and you just look at those spots on the right, and you'll understand what the RTP and the odds mean. In our first example, this is called a high volatility slot. You can see that out of 100 spins on the machine, you only win 1 time. So your odds are 1 out of 100. That's when you're going to win 1% of the time. However, the RTP, or the amount returned to the player, is 90% because you win $90 back at the one time that you win. Our second example is a medium volatility machine. You win a few more times in the pulls on the slot machine. In fact, you win 20 times. And you win various amounts of money. But if you add up all that money, it still only comes down to 90% of your drop. So the RTP on this machine is 90%, but the odds of winning are 20%. Our last example is an example of a low volatility machine. Think of this as the type of slot machine where you win quite often, but only a little amount. In our example, you win actually 30% of the time, so your odds are 30%. But your RTP, when you add up all those winnings, still comes to $90 or 90% of your drop. By this time in the video, your head should be spinning, and you're looking at all those numbers and you're thinking, well, what's it all mean? We're going to go through that and discuss it with you. It's pretty simple, and we'll make it as simple as possible. Basically, it gives you a plan of attack so you can look for certain types of machines and know what you're looking at. In our examples, we had 3 scenarios. They were all dollar machines, and we spun the wheel 100 times. The RTP on all of those was 90%. That's to show you that you can have a casino with 90% RTP, but the odds of each machine can be very different. You have a 30% chance on one machine, you have a 1% chance on the other. The point we're trying to drive home with this is that when you look at a casino report or the numbers that are listed on the Nevada Gaming Commission, casinos report an average RTP per denomination, or the amount of the machine, like a dollar machine or a quarter machine. Those are not your odds of winning. So if RTP doesn't predict the odds, why do we care about it? RTP helps you find more profitable casinos and denominations to play. What if I told you the RTP for Vegas shows that a 5-cent machine has almost a 5% advantage over a 1-cent machine? It's true. But don't get carried away with that, because you can look up the RTP, but just remember that the RTP is for the entire casino, not for each machine. So if you look at it and the dollar machines have the best RTP for you, remember that's for all the machines, and they may have 60 machines in there. Let's use an example. In the dollar machines, let's assume that this casino has 9 identical slot machines, and the casino has a 90% RTP. Well, it sounds good, but which machine do you play? You'll notice on the blue dots that the RTP of each machine can vary from 97% to 85%. How do we find high RTP machines? Basically, you look for high visibility locations, places where a lot of people are walking by and where people aren't stuck. So you don't want locations that have a captive audience. You don't want locations next to a restaurant. You don't want locations at the airport. You want places where there's a lot of activity and a lot of people walking by. Now that we know how to identify the high RTP location machines, which machines are going to have the best odds? Which casinos are going to have the best odds? Well, the odds are determined by the casino's business practices and the game manufacturers, and the odds can fluctuate daily or maybe even hourly. Remember that if no one wins on the casino slot machines, the casino will eventually go out of business. And if everyone wins on the slot machines, the casino will also go out of business. The casinos vary the odds of winning based on the machines and the machine locations to attract customers and to attract their dollars. Casinos are a very bottom line business. It's all about getting your money. This is where common sense has to come in. If the casino's having a bad month and they've lowered the odds on the machines, you're going to play and lose a lot of money. But if you start to pick that up, then get out of there and go to another casino. If you're on a machine and it's winning, stay on that machine until it stops winning. If you're on a machine and it's not winning, get up and go to another machine. Remember, the odds can change on each machine. The last topic we'd like to talk about is bankroll. And this is the amount of money that a player brings into the casino, or the amount of money that the player has decided to use for one session. A session being the amount of time that you've decided to play the game for. What's a reasonable bankroll? We think allowing for 125 spins per denomination. So if you're playing a dollar machine and you're betting $1, then you need at least $125. If you're playing dollar machine and you're betting $3, then you need a bankroll of $375. We also have some rules for keeping your bankroll in your pocket. We recommend starting with the 5-pull taster method. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically just do 5 pulls on a machine. And if you win during that 5 pulls, take your money and leave the machine. If you don't win during those 5 pulls, either stay for your entire bankroll, that means the full 125 spins, or if you don't have the budget for it, get up and go to a different machine. We always recommend using a stop loss similar to stock trading and keep raising the floor of the stock limit on. For example, if you put in $100 and you win $175, set the floor at $150. If you go up from there, keep raising the floor. But if you drop down to $150, stand up and leave the machine. Also, at the very end, if you've got a dog of a machine, always leave when you get at 24% of your drop. So if you're playing $100 and you get down to $24, stand up, cash out your $24 and leave the machine. So let's talk about our plan and our summary. Try and pick a casino that has a high RTP and pick a denomination that has a high RTP. This information is publicly available on the Nevada Gaming Commission site, and you pick the casino. You can't exactly pick your casino, but you can say, okay, I know this casino does over $1 billion a year, therefore it's one of the large casinos, and they're going to have high RTP dollar machines in their casino. Remember, they're not all the same, but on average, they're high RTP. Then once you get in the casino, look for high visibility locations. And as you're gambling, always start with the 5-pull taster method. You can get references to that at professorslots.com and a lot of the YouTube videos here. I should do a shout out to Professor Slots because while he didn't invent it, he does have a lot of videos on how to do the particular method. And then one thing that we're going to do is set stop losses at about 150% of our drop and increase it as we win. The idea there is that we walk away with the casino's money and we don't get wrapped up into just pouring everything back into the machine. I'm going to give another shout out here to Bror Fredrik, who helps you with finding high visibility locations. And he also has a great video that talks about when you win, you put in $100 and you win $200. You're not playing with the casino's money. That's your money. And if you walked away at $200, you'd actually have that money and you'd be able to go out and buy dinner. So don't consider a win on a machine as the casino's money. Always play as if it's your money, because it is. Then lastly, we want to leave with, if we are on a machine and we hit the 24% number in terms of our drop, we say get up and leave. You walk away with a little bit of your money. You don't lose 100%. And you know what? If you've lost 75% of your money, you're probably going to lose the other 25% of it. So it's a way of you recognizing when you're playing a dog. Lastly, we just want to remind you that we're playing to win. While casinos and slot machines are very entertaining, our job is to go there and win. And we're going to do all of our techniques that we have here to try and win. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you win in Las Vegas. Stay tuned. We're going to be putting up a lot of our casino play videos very shortly.